Good morning, everybody from the U.S. I know it's kind of about early afternoon on a Saturday in Europe, but glad you're joining us. Larry and I were just talking about a scheduling deal, and I was telling him he could use a skill to route it and just kind of define skills and how you create them. What I do, literally, what I do is like when I wanted to create a skill to convert Clarion for Windows application, or even the WX conversion, I first told it I want you to analyze this document or this directory and make markdown files for everything that's in there. Okay, that's what I said. Or you look at this PDF file, break it up, make markdown files for everything that's in there. As it's doing that, I literally tell it, save the information you're learning from here to create a skill to do this job. That's what I do. So what happens is as it's gone through that directory or it's doing whatever job I told it to do, in the background, it's saving each step that it's doing for a skill. Then you tell it to write the skill and you run it again against using that skill instead. And you test it out a little bit, and now you got a skill that works. It's as simple as that. Again, a skill is nothing more than a set of steps, programming steps that you're telling it to do with some conditionals. That's what's happening. So if you're asking AI to run through this and see what it's doing, give me all the information or a summary of the information that's in here, or I'd like to see you analyze each one of these scopes and build me a report. You can say, and when you're done, make that a skill. And it will do exactly that. There's no tricks, no magic singing you have to do, no sacrificing to the computer gods or anything. It just works great. Okay. That should answer your question on that one.
Thanks.
You bet. No problem. So, where we are now, we've gone through three sessions. The one session from last night with the Aussie group in New Zealand went well. We got all the basics of the base put together. I created the database, and I stopped there because we'd gone through a lot of Q&A questions and stuff. And the thing about it is that during this first two, it's created, in essence, a SQL generated schema to push to the database and make all the database tables and things. It also will get all the links to each other in order to do the parent-child relationships, cannot delete a child or cannot delete a parent without cascading deleting the children, things like this. If you got restrictions on it. So we're going to do that first, and then we're going to start into the rest of the process. I'm going to try to, no matter what, even if I don't get this all finished, because I think I picked a bigger one than I thought I would, do through these meetings that we're having, I'll continue to generate videos and putting them up on YouTube until this is completely finished, until we've got it up there. And you guys can then go use it out, or not use it, but go reference it as a test thing out there on the internet if you want to. So that's what I want to do. But I wanted to kind of drop back a little bit and talk about the stack. The stack is basically a way to say, I'm going to frame it and I'm going to work on it like this. These are the things that I'm going to use for each definition that I've got. It's got some nice things that it thought about and told me to do it different. Okay. So let's take a quick look at this and let me show you what it is. So we got two stacks. We've got the ones for the web and we got the ones for the mobile. Okay. The reason why they got two different ones is because this actually had a little mobile definition with it as well, and that's the reason why I kind of picked it to convert. But in the time frame that we got going before we leave, I don't know that we'll get everything, so it'll have to continue and continue to make the videos for everybody to see. But let's talk about the web target stack. The back end is Node.js, Express, Drizzle ORM, so standalone REST JSON servers consumed by both web and mobile. Drizzle maps the legacy column names into Postgres schema. And you got signed payment webhooks. RBAC lives here. The front end is Next.js, React. This is what it works with: database Postgres, styling and components. That's where we're using, these are the controls and things and the way it looks. Tailwind CSS, Shad CN is the unit, and testing is we're using VI test and Playwright. Now that's local testing. It's local host testing, so you can see how it looks and finish off the polishing of the application. Hosting and deployment is going to be containerized API, Next.js, which is basically we're going to use Docker as an example, and I'll have it installed up there on AWS in their new Elastic deal, so you can go through it. Okay, now this is the reason why I wanted to show this, because in the mobile side, you think that you got to use Android for Android and iOS for iOS. It's not necessarily true. So the back end is shared in OS, Express APIs, no difference there. So we're using the REST services over HTTPS, one back end, two different clients. Front end, we're using React Native Expo. Here's the reason why. If you look at this, it reuses the React skills we have from the web app already, one code base for both iOS and Android. So instead of using Kotlin, which is an Android base only, if we use these, I can actually put it up there to do iOS or Android both. It'll run on both of them. So keep that in mind. Okay. The database, they'll have SQLite on the device itself, on the mobile device, and all that is a little lightweight little SQL database that'll run on any Windows, or I mean not Windows, but well, actually run on Windows too, but on any mobile device you have out there. And then, of course, Postgres is on the server side, which it calls. Styling components. This is where we go into native Win for Tailwind for mobile devices. Testing will be those two, which I have not seen. I don't know how they necessarily work, but it's going to be fun. And the hosting deploy is either app stores or managed API, so we can do either one. So I wanted to go over that a little bit. Okay. So everybody has a chance to see how the two different stacks work, that you can do both. You can have all three. You could have a desktop as well in there, but we only needed these two, so that's what it corrected for us. If you have any questions on the stack part, stack again is what you're using to show it up front and work with it and go from there. So that's the reason why I wanted to kind of go over that real quick, so everybody understands what's underneath the covers and how it's running. It's not any different, in my opinion, than any of the functions and stuff that you currently use in WinDev or otherwise. They're little, they take what you want to do and actually run things, which is the same thing as you call an H read first, things like that. Now, what I did was I created a database URL for this in order to do the database. And I went ahead and created the database. And this is how it is formatted for Postgres, which is Postgres, what's the username, password, and this never goes out in public. It's all get ignored, and it's all encrypted once it gets in there. And then where it's at, and what port you're using, and then the database name itself. And I'm using SSL mode, so it is secure. Okay. Right now, I've got it up to this point where it's saying, okay, everything's created. How do I want to push it to the database? So this is managed remote. Use the wxKanban e-business, the database already that's there, and push everything to it. Or I can do it to a local Postgres with Docker if you wanted to, or a new cloud instance like you want to take it to Neon or Supabase. Some people do Supabase for a little freebie. It works nicely to test with. They also have the other side of it where you get into a front end that helps manage connections and everything like that, and does a pretty good job too. So either way, you don't have to rely on Postgres. You can do Firebird. You can do MS SQL. You can do any kind of MySQL, whatever database you want to use, wherever you want to use it. I choose Postgres because it's easier to put up on Amazon to let everybody see what's going on with the projects. And also, my people and anything you're working with works with Amazon is what I'm working with on wxKanban. So we're going to go ahead and do the managed remote. Okay. Now, could be done with this, migrate and versioned. So we need to push DB generate to put a versioned SQL migration from the schema. It's good to have a version, and the reason why is that if you are making updates to the database, then you can tell the application that it must have this version for this to work. Okay. And so here we go. We're going to submit that answers and let it rock and roll. I'll get up on the database itself also. And as it creates them and gets it all done, we'll show you the database schema and the tables that it's created. And we'll get through that and then go on to the next section from there. For those that are using local, like hyperfile local, for desktop databases, I would use Firebird as an example because it is zero maintenance from the user standpoint. Okay. That is a good desktop, or the SQLite. One of those two is what I would use for if you're just doing a deal from there. Okay. Um, Now let's see here. We get back to the SQL. As far as anything else, when you're using shared, if you're using a small business that they're running it on their own server, you could still use the Firebase. It'd be like HFSQL. Okay. So if you're in a small that they have their own local server in the business in the office there, use Firebird for that as also. When you're trying to get out to a bunch of people, things like this, then you're going to need to have a cloud solution, some kind of cloud solution. And that's where you start looking at how many people you plan on working on it, things like this. And the larger it gets, the more I lean towards Postgres, because Postgres has the speed of Oracle and Amazon, or a lot of the places that do the same thing as Amazon RDS. They maintain all the back end pieces, and all you have to do is some minor things up front. For the most part, it's not hard. I usually put in a deal in the background in the functions that just does a vacuum once a week, is what they call it. And the vacuum, what it does is it removes all of the excess searches and things out of it, so it'll run a little faster. Okay. So now it's applied all the migrations, verify all the tables that it's created. Let it finish that. We're almost done. And if you go through the first three videos, you'll see where we started to get to this point. If you need me to jump back and let you see certain things, I can go back to a certain point, but I'm in that application, so we're having to move forward. But if you want to see something from VS Code or wxKanban, let me know, and I'll be glad to show you. Okay. As we said, everything is tightly integrated between this and VS Code and wxKanban, so that way nothing gets what they call drift, which is basically where your code starts going one way and your documentation goes another. You want to keep them in sync 100% of the time. And the reason why is because you're not in charge of the code. You're telling a junior programmer, an AI programmer, that you want him to build this. And in doing so, you got to make sure that I want you to do this is all built. That is the specs, the scopes, the things that it needs to say. I understand what you want and I'm going to go build it for you. Okay. So that's the reason why the whole thing came about this way, is so I could keep those together and make sure there's no drift between what it's doing code wise and what I've got as documentation of what I want it to do. One of the features in there is each one of the specifications has a number: T0001, T0025, things like this. Any code that it generates to do it, whether it be Python, TypeScript, or whatever, it will actually block out that code with that's those task numbers. So you can say this number here, T0036, scope 29, you're good. Da, da, da. Oh, I forgot. Oh, yeah, that's right. I've got to change this because I've got to give it. Okay, we'll just do this. Hang on. I made the user connection to this to do certain things, and I forgot that. Well, I got to give it privileges to actually do a few things. So let me go down here and do that with that user so it can do its job. So we'll go to the properties, and I will then turn on the privileges to let it go create databases, and that should do it. Okay. Uh, okay, let's try that again. Okay. Now, when okay, so it's saying recommend give the app full control of its own DB. Okay. Uh, that is correct. This is what we want to run. Okay. So it'll tell you SQL statements if you're missing something or don't have it correct. It will certainly tell you that. So I'm going to go to the database and I'm going to run that and then let her go again. Query tool. Post that in there. There we go. And just tell it, okay, I added the alter statement, continue. And it does pretty good with my shorthand. I don't have to tell it everything. There we go. Migration applied successfully. Now it's going to verify the table. So we got it all right now. It's early in the morning here, so I'm drinking coffee if you hear that. So sorry. Okay, all 25 tables created. Let's go to the database and take a quick look at them. Come down to my e-business and schemas. We're going to go to public, and I'm going to hit F5 because I need to refresh it and make sure that all the tables are in there. So here we go. There's all the tables. Great thing about this one, let me kind of clear off some of this stuff here. I've been working on different things. If I click on the SQL and just click on one of these, it shows me the schema and what it's done. So it's going to generate that and says, okay, here's what it's done. It's got all that in there. So it created the indexes. It creates the owner, does what it needs to do. Let's look at product. It gives you a primary key already. A couple of indexes here. I think I need to do product link is what it is. I'm trying to look for one that has, yeah, now see this one has a double primary key. It has both of them as both the product key and the linked product, which is what is necessary. That's always been a little difficult as a primary key for me in HF analysis with SQL databases anywhere. So each one of these are done. They got them all in there. It's created it for you, and it's got all the uh, information now for you to be able to start finishing screens and moving forward. And that's what we're going to do. Okay. Uh, no, we're fine. Okay. Database setup done. 25 tables live on the managed Postgres. Ping me for the next step. Okay. We don't need that. Let's go to implementation of a few things. Let's, and the implementation comes from, and I know that maybe you may or not been in here when I did this, we had generated all the progress scopes, which is all of the information for each one of the areas. And then from that generated the specs for each one of them. So I'll go up here to one of the pages. New product highlight. It created a plan of what it needs to do, the design, implementation, Q&A. It created a set of specs for each one of them, and it created a set of tasks to complete those specs. So what we're going to do now is we're going to generate all of that code to make sure that it does it. Okay. For each spec, starting with, we got to make sure we don't do some of them, but we want to do just a few. Yeah. 004, 3, 4 to 79. One too many zeros. Now, for those that haven't seen this before, you'll notice that it's got a 4-digit number in front of each one of the items. That's all you have to specify to run this. Okay. For each spec, implement 004 to 79, and we hit enter from there. And what it'll do at this moment is it will start a task for each one of those 79 and start writing the code for every one of them. If you have a AI type like Claude, it'll do things in background as well. Okay, so okay, from this point in, say do them one at a time in a list. Okay. Let's see here. So what it should do is give me a list. I kind of did that a little different. Usually what it says, give me a list of the scopes that need to be done and implement them one at a time. There it goes. Okay. So even though I did it afterwards, he says, got it. One at a time, tracked as a list before I start. It's going to clarify, make sure it knows what it needs to do, and then go from there. This is how you can do the entire thing at one time. Because usually, once you've done this the first time, you're going to be, you may make a new scope and issues with that for one new scope. Then all you're going to do is implement 00, whatever that scope number is, and it will do that one and that one only. Because you only need to do this once. But this is one of the times where you can do this, run off and eat lunch, things like that, because while it's churning away, you can do something else. And what I usually do is I've got this down here. It's called a virtual desktop switcher, which allows me to go to different desktops on the fly. So while that one's working, okay, I'll go over here and okay, it's going to bop me back here. I'll come back here. Thank you. And I guess it's going to do this until it gets enough done. Wants to bring me back all the time to look at stuff. But I'll work on another project at the same time. Okay. It doesn't finish all at one turn. No, you can't. You got to do them one at a time. Thank you for understanding what I'd said. So I'll work on another project in one of these other windows. There, that's what I was looking for. So what it's going to do is it's going to go through and it's going to show you as it finishes each one. Each one will get checked off. As it works through it. So I'll go over there and work on a different one. Work on something here, work on something there. It's still going to pop me back. Well, it's arguing. It must be the screen share. Because usually I can do that. If we have any questions at the moment, let's go ahead and ask them. You can talk if you want to. Either way. Because obviously this is not going to be the quickest thing in the world as it goes through things. One other thing that I was talking about last night in one of the videos, and I don't know if anybody wants to see it again, but we'll talk about it. I'm going to be looking at putting in another little deal on the WX, which is automatic chat. One of the guys last night asked if there was any way that the support chat would come up automatically in here. So I'm going to try to do that. We have a product called Yap Chat, which is something I built a long time ago. And it's basically a community type chat. And what I'm going to do is tie it into the cockpit so that way you can actually have support chat with the group of individuals out there that are currently working on things and how they did things as it goes through. One of the pieces with it will be a little AI button that you can click and have it search for things and give you the results. So if you're saying, well, how did I create, a database? Or what database should I use under this? And it will go back through everything there and give you people answers from previous questions. If you ask a question about wxKanban directly or VS Code, it's got the help for that active already. I generated the help a couple of days ago for the entire thing, both wxKanban and VS Code and everything in VS Code that I do. Okay. This this is going to help all of us because one of the things when it used to be we used to go through and use one of the chat areas signal to talk about development and things like this, but it was always a hard time to go find somebody's message that had been previous, that had gone past, and it's been, a day or so ago and you had 300 messages in between. So that's the reason for the AI on there. So you can say, show me all the messages from Andy or show me all the messages from Stefano. And then it'll give you those and you can look through them or show me all the messages from Stefano in the last 2 days. Things like that is what I'm going to have in there. And that should take me a few days to do. I'll probably have it done by next weekend. And it'll update automatically when you start up VS Code, and you'll see that there's the Git version come here. We'll have a line here that says update available, and it'll have a node and a line to run over here in the chat in order to upgrade your kit from there to give you the new features. More than likely, I'll probably just put a quick video up of just doing the upgrade functionality or steps through it, so that way everybody kind of knows. Additionally, and we have done this to show people, and I'll show you guys as well, since we're waiting for it to finish its work. I have added to the front page of wxKanban a installation and setup. If you click on this view setup instructions, it'll give you every step of how to install what you need to have on VS Code, the kit, suggested extensions to put in your VS Code that will be good to use. Then setting up your project, putting that into your VS Code, and installing the Cockpit extensions, and then starting with your first workflow. Okay. These also kind of follow the videos that I've already created out there for this. But this helps you to get through things, to start things off. It gives you a reference that you can use to work with that as well. Where are we at here? We're still on the first one. So this is going to take some time. Okay. Like I said, this is going to take some time. So let's see if we can't look at anything else. You going to leave me on here this time? Nope, you're not. Let me try. Let me do it this way, maybe. See if this fires up. This might help to stay here since it's got something to look at. This one here is the Yap Chat. Yap Chat has been something that's been on my mind for years. I actually had the domain now for about 6 years and just never done anything with it. This is a brand new application. It is not a conversion from any language. So good enough. It's got the upgrade skit down here. You can see where it says, oh, I need to upgrade. The current version is 20. You got a new one. So all I'm going to do is grab this line here, and I'm going to paste it over here in Claude. and say, upgrade me. And it's going to do the upgrade for you. You'll get those when I make changes or we add a new feature, things like that. That's what you're going to get it for. Um, to let this go on, and that will take but a few moments. That's what you're looking for. That node exe is running stuff in the background, and then it's successful. And then what it'll want to do is reinitialize VS Code. And the way you do that is you come up here, you go to show and run commands. If you don't see the developer up the top, that means you ain't done it before. So you type in developer, you'll go down and find it. And I'm going to refresh everything. And the reason I'm doing that is so, in essence, everything starts running. There's a new command there, so I want to put that in the Claude area. This is what I'm looking for, is what is it listening on, and it's which is the orchestrator is saying, okay, on port 3864. I have developed this entire process to ensure that because I'm running 3 of them, that this one here won't affect one of the other 2, or this one running everything as it's doing. See, it's on 005 now, won't affect the one I'm doing here. And the reason why is because, instead of sitting around watching TV, I like to do more stuff. So I can run more than one VS Code at a time. Granted, it is all based on how much memory and stuff that you have on your machine. But to be honest with you, this is a 9-year-old machine. Yeah. 9-year-old machine with 64 gigs of memory. And the only thing I've done is switched out and put SSD drives in it. So it's still running version 10 Windows. Works great. Sooner or later, one of my children or grandchildren will want this machine while I get me a new one. But not today. So it's installed the cockpit, everything with it, and we're ready to go. These are the new features in the cockpit. You can see that I've got a listing up here of different scopes that has not been accomplished yet, which is fine. I've got the help commands, which got some new commands in it, the conversion and things like that. It also, I've got a CW conversion in there. I get all the 7 videos that you can go watch when you want to. And then we got to frequently ask questions. If I get more questions like that, that will expand. You won't need to install again to do that because it'll pull it down each time you come in. But what other information is on there? In fact, I'll put one in there. So how do I get started? And I'll put the link in that command to go straight to the getting started listing for y'all. Anything you feel that you need to suggest to me or have an issue that you want to deal with, you go up to the icon here at the top on the cockpit and you say, I want to do a suggestion, and type in the suggestion and submit it, and it will send it directly to me. The other thing is, it says notify me of status changes. So in other words, when I do something about it, it'll actually come back here and tell you I did something. Okay. That way you know that somebody's taking care of you and it's not just a surprise when it shows up. This will also be the area where we're going to put the chat in. And that's really the next biggie from there. But since we're probably going to take too long for doing this, because I'm trying to keep these down to 1 hour, I'm going to show you how to use a screen. I've gotten to a point where, okay, I've done a bunch of the scopes, and I've done certain screens and stuff in here in order to use it, because it is actually running right now out on the web. But if I want to run it locally, I type in run server and client. And basically the server part is the back end that connects to the database. Obviously, it's running the engine back there, and then the client is the front-facing pages and stuff like that. I'm going to have it go ahead and do that. Okay. As soon as it gets done, it'll give me a local host to run it in. And let's see, there it is. Give me a moment, let them come up. And then I'll show you how I can deal with stuff and tell it to actually change things if I want to. Okay. There it is. I've got a localhost 5175. I click that and it's going to come up right here. Let me spread this out, make it a little larger. Actually, I want to get rid of that one anyway. Okay. Yes, that's cool. I know it is. I'm going to sign in. I think I have, yeah, yeah. Um, this one's got SSO, so I'm gonna have to go up there and look and see what I got. Some of them have, let's see, that's not one either. Okay, let me look at the database. Or I can do it over here. No, I can't do Andy because that's SSO. Well, maybe I can. Let's try. No, it's not going to do that. That's right. Since it's local host, if you've already signed in as SSO, it won't let you sign in any other way, and localhost won't fire it back to you to say that you can sign in. I like the SSO bit. On live, we can use it. Let me just check that database here real quick, and I'll get me a user ID that I put in there for me to do that. And I want to take a look at things. All right, so no, databases. Minimize. Get out of the way. And there's Yap Chat. So we're going to do this query tool. Da, 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 da. Yeah, see, password hash is not going to be there. So A Stapleton and A Litho, that's what it is. Okay. So we can use that one. And I'm going to get in. See, so it comes in and pops in here. Now, what I want to change or anything like this, go down to presentation because that's really what I've been looking to change. So this is a kind of a presentation thing that I've been putting in. We were usually use this, but let's say that I want to make this area larger. Okay. Um, and I just type down here, make the screen size for video 10% taller. And what it's going to do is going to change it live. So I can see it immediately and say, do I like it or not? So it's going to go through that page. Oh, I forgot where. It had to hunt for it. Yeah, say video screens, live presentations. I didn't tell it which page, so it had to go find it. And there it goes. Okay. All right. So I don't like that. So, okay, let's revert. Don't like it. It's not any different than you telling a junior programmer what to do. And why don't you make that 10% bigger? No, 10% smaller. No, I don't like either one of them. Put it back the way you had it. That's what you can do. Now, what all does YapChat do? Let me kind of show you here. Uh, when this is all working, you have a public group over here in communities that we're going to be using, that we're going to be talking to each other. So when you make a question or anything like that, it'll actually show up here as well as your VS code. Any answer you get will show up here and your VS code both. So it's going to be a method that you can be able to come in here, ask questions as we add more people. There will be more solutions to it. As you can see, there's an AI up here. That's what you click and say, oh, I want to use it for the space history that's here and be able to look for things like that. That's the support AI. And it's going to try to auto answer the questions. I'm working on this to make it all work right. Presentations will come here. I will create more videos and things like that in here. But this is all brand new. I built it from scratch using wxKanban as a brand new system to work with. You can create your own communities. You can see that I've gone back and forth with Andrew, one of the beta testers, and I believe I've also done a little bit with Stefano, but not much. So it allows you. The other thing is I've got it split by days because I got tired of saying, well, I want to look at it from 3 days ago. At least it knows where the days are, and I do too. And it's going to be a nice little system. Okay. All right. So question and answers get started since we're still working on finishing this. Okay. We are currently proceeding on 5. Continue. This happens too. It'll hang up a little bit and say, do you want me to go on or not? And what I do is continue till finished. So that way it'll do every one of them. Okay. So now's the time. Let's ask whatever questions, Q&A. I try to keep these things down to about an hour, maybe a little bit longer. But I try to keep them down for an hour for any questions, and I can show you anything now that you want to look at. Just let me know. It's on y'all now. Okay. There'll be another session, which is about noon my time. This should be finished then, by then, and we're going to start doing the screenshots, working with some screens, cleaning up a few of those. And in doing so, we'll be using the server and client like we was using over there on YapChat to do it with. Other than that, unless there's something else anybody's got something they want to say or chat, I'm going to let y'all go for this morning. Go eat my breakfast. Okay. Y'all be good or be good at it. Thanks for joining me this morning.